888-267-1026. Well, we promised we'd chat with Pat Remick.
Mr. Greenside Landscape,
Hey,
Pat
Pat.
Remick, yes. And what we wanted to kind of go over today was pavers. Kind of simple, but I'll tell you what, you look at pavers when it comes to a house, and we talk a lot about, Andy, about curb appeal and things like that.
Sure.
But I also look at a paver and different ways in which to do it, and I think that's what we're going to talk about. But that it's a differentiator, meaning that it's something that you would remember about a house.
Absolutely.
And it looks really good. So
Well, it sets the tone when you're walking up for that first showing. Wouldn't you agree, Pat?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, whatever you can do to separate yourself from the masses is what you're trying to do when you're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
First of all, I think, I look at pavers, and I was talking about these the other day, is that what happens like when plowing? Do they just kind of expand? What would be an issue with having pavers?
I guess the only concern you'd have is if you have a loose paver or something that really wasn't fit too tight. If you happen to be plowing, you may catch that and create some damage. But for the most part, they're really tight. I mean, they're very well established if they're installed
how
correctly.
you install it. Yeah.
Yep.
Like in anything.
Yep.
Well, but I was going to say that's a good segue into the fact that with pavers, the cool thing is, let's say that you have settling or you have the plow hit it, you can fix it. It's repairable. That's a cool thing about pavers.
Like I told Chris the other day, let's say you have a car that leaks a little oil and you get these spots all over where you see a concrete driveway or an asphalt driveway. Those spots are there permanently. Whereas with pavers, if you can pry them up, you can put a couple new ones down, and the whole driveway looks new again. So,
good point.
And the other thing you can really do is you can really create a distinctful driveway. You can put your initials in it with different color pavers or your address. There's so many different ways. Or just border it. Use a different color for the border of the driveway versus what the inset is. And you can be as creative as you want.
I think I've seen it too. We see a lot where the apron on the garage falls. Mm-hmm. And you had actually a house that a client of mine that you went in and tore out all that tar that had fell.
Yep.
And then created kind of a paver apron, kind of leading right into a sidewalk.
Yeah, and the whole thing was they weren't very happy with the stoop of their house. As you walked up there, it was a big step up, a concrete step. And they want to create a different vision. So we were able to put the pavers right over the top of the concrete. For one, it's a very stable base, and for two, it just gives it a brand new look over a concrete step that otherwise they thought maybe they'd have to tear out. We just use that as the base, and it really turned out quite well.
Do you glue them down then, or how do they secure?
You can glue them down. There's multiple different ways of doing it, and that's kind of the beauty of pavers as well. There's so many different ways and avenues of doing things that it gives you a lot of options.
How expensive are pavers? I always assumed they were the most expensive. Are they? How are they pricing nowadays?
There really isn't a big difference between pavers and concrete. I mean, there's so many different circumstances that go into it that, sure, in some cases maybe it's a lot more money, but in other cases it's the same or maybe even less of what concrete would be. But as a rule of thumb, it's pretty close to what concrete would be, and it's probably going to last longer than what asphalt is. Asphalt is nice. One thing real nice about asphalt is you keep it nice and black. Then during the winter months when the sun comes out, it melts the snow off almost immediately. Even if it's zero, that black asphalt is going to get you down to the bare substrate real quick, whereas pavers and concrete may not be quite as quick.
Well, I would think too, like if you're replacing or retrofitting a patio in a backyard, or you have a tighter area, getting the pavers in there a couple at a time, I think would be less
absolutely
damaging to the property. And
that's the thing. I mean, how much damage are you going to create by horse and back wheelbarrows of cement or
a bobcat or whatever?
Absolutely,
right?
And pavers sometimes you can't take them back 3-4 at a time.
How about the freeze thaw cycle as far as pavers go?
Pavers will flex, and that's one good thing about it is you're not going to, like concrete could buckle. Where pavers will flex because they're not nearly as big. So the freeze-thaw cycle do affect it, but it's a lot more floating than what asphalt or concrete would be.
Okay.